episode of Power Move Makers. This series was created with a simple goal in mind to bring to the table high-level executives, very successful entrepreneurs, and just all-around inspiring human beings. Not just focusing on their successes, but more importantly, shining a spotlight on the road they traveled to get there. Now, this week's guest, I've been a long-time fan of his because he is a man after my own heart. He's an entrepreneur, but more so, he loves entrepreneurs. He loves encouraging, coaching, mentoring entrepreneurs. He's also an author. He is the founder and CEO of the Social Proof Conference. He is a speaker. You know, he's a Renaissance man altogether, but I love the way he gives back to the community, and I love the way he builds up fellow entrepreneurs. Please welcome to this week's Power Move Makers series, Mr. David Never Sleeps. Sleep is for suckers, a.k.a. Mr. David Shands. David, welcome to the show.
I'm good, man. I heard the virtual claps, so that feels good. I felt them, brother. I felt them.
Good man, good man. Yo, Dave, like I told you offline, I've been a long-time fan of yours. It's amazing how when you do what you do and you do it from a pure space, you never know who's watching you. You never know who's looking and who you're impacted. And for years now, I've been watching and seeing what you're doing down in Atlanta and, just admiring how you just give back to the community and you're really trying to educate people on what it takes to, number one, start a business. Number two, just a mindset of an entrepreneur. So congratulations again before we get into it.
Oh, no doubt. Thank you. I appreciate it, man. I think, as you're building something, it's always good to, hear that someone, sees your work. Because, as an entrepreneur, you don't get a pat on the back all the time. And it just really feels good, man. Every time I get, if I get a DM or, just somebody says, yo, I appreciate you. So I try to do it as often as I can to other people, just to say, I appreciate it. You know what I mean? I might be the 100th person that told that person that, but I always say, man, I appreciate it. I love what you're doing and your inspiration. So thank you. It means a lot.
Yeah, I come from the same sentiments. I think, it don't hurt any of us to flash a smile, to say, I appreciate you, to say thank you. That costs absolutely nothing, but you have no idea what it can mean to somebody on the other end.
Yeah, 100%.
Dave, you're down in Atlanta, but you're not originally from Atlanta. Where are you originally from?
I'm from South Jersey, actually, Willingboro, New Jersey. I was born and raised out there, man. And I came down to Georgia my senior year of high school, which is 2001. I think I came down. I graduated in 2002. Then I went to Alabama. I went to Alabama A&M for a little while, then came back to Georgia, been here ever since. So, but yeah, I'm originally from New Jersey.
So your whole family is now in Atlanta?
For the most part, yeah. Absolutely. I don't have no family. Well, I got my aunts. I have an aunt and uncle, another aunt in Philly, but yeah. But you know what? And my half sisters and my brother, and I guess I do got a lot of family in Philly. But
you still got people
a lot of my
top.
immediate families in Georgia, yeah, for sure.
Got you. Which school did you go to?
I went to Willingboro High School.
No, college.
Oh, Alabama A&M.
Didn't Infamous go there too? DJ Infamous?
Yeah, that's where I met him. Yeah.
And for anybody who don't know, DJ Infamous is a big-time DJ in Atlanta, on the radio for years, killing it out there. Shout out to my man Infamous.
Yeah. We actually went to so his best friend Ward. It's so the circle is so small. So I was hanging out with Ward, and they were in Michigan together. So they came down to Alabama A&M, and then I got to just be in the circle with Infamous. And what happened was, me and Infamous moved from Alabama to Georgia together. And his mom lived around the corner from my mom. And it's just been my man ever since. But what happened was, I actually met CJ, who was the president of Eric Thomas and Associates, through Infamous. He was at Infamous House, and they were really cool in Michigan. So that's how I got hooked up with ET and went on tour and all that. So,
okay, we're going to get into that later on in this interview, because I always wondered how did you get hooked? I mean, everybody know E.T., but if you don't, Dr. Eric Thomas, he's the GOAT. He is the #1 speaker on the planet. And this is a mentor of yours. So I always wondered, what was the connection? How did you guys hook up? Because I know E.T. is from Detroit in Chicago, originally from Chicago.
Yeah, so I would go to Infamous. So Infamous bought a house, and every event, like Infamous just had events at his house. And CJ would always go over there because CJ just moved to Atlanta not too long before that. So we just all be over there kicking it. And every event, I just see CJ over there. So CJ, he must have got my number from Infamous one. And I didn't know what CJ did. He just seemed like a cool person. So it's so funny. We went to a club one time and everything. He was just another one of Infamous friends, right? So I guess he got my number from Inf one day and he called me and said, I'm working with a guy named Eric Thomas. And I think your brand's message and his message align. And I'm like, all right, cool. So I didn't know who he was. So I started Googling E.T. and I started watching his videos. And I'm like, yo, this dude's amazing. This is off the chain. So I called CJ back like, yo, yeah, I give him whatever he needs. Like, I'm inspired. So CJ was actually buying the shirts from me to give to E.T. And E.T. would wear them on the Thank God It's Monday videos because my message aligned with what he was talking about. And then one day, he actually wore one of the videos that he did, he named it Sleep is for Suckers. And he wore one of my hoodies. And from there, it's just been upward from there, man. So I owe a lot. I owe a lot to CJ. And I guess CJ more mentors me than ET, but yeah, absolutely, man. CJ just, anything CJ ever needs, I got him because, I just owe him so much.
Yeah, I mean, CJ, he seems like a mentor to all. I mean, every time, and this is the guy, you always hear his name, CJ.
Right, but nobody knows his face unless you see the podcast. But he's like the guy that everybody knows, but you don't know him. You know what I mean?
Nah, he's Kaiser Sose for real. He is the guy behind the guy. Like every time I turn around, somebody's talking about CJ. But I'm like, I don't even know what this man looked like.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So oddly enough, at Infamous House, that was the connection.
Yo, I mean, while I'm thinking about it, what is it about Atlanta? Like Atlanta turns out, or you guys are imported in, but it seems to be so much great talent from music to executives to entrepreneurs, CEOs. What is it? Like, is it the water y'all drinking? Is it just the energy? Because there's so many people doing so much in one area. Like, what is it about Atlanta?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just the culture. So if you think through, that era of hip hop, where it's just a whole bunch of talented, the South was just taking over, and you got places like Freaknik, which was just this party that people would come from around the country to come down, and then on top of that, the real estate market was super cheap, so living expenses are down. Hip hop is producing some of the greatest music ever produced. The energy is crazy, and it's just a bunch of black people. So, like, there's a certain energy down here that's rooted from just, I mean, bro, it's, if you think about, bro, it's just so much energy here. I don't even know how to explain it, but there's a certain culture here. Let me tell you this. I have a conversation with my friends often. I know a lot of people. And I can only really think of one of my friends who has a job.
Really?
Like a job, yeah.
Like
everybody else is an entrepreneur.
Going in, punching the clock, 9 to 5, 8 hours, go home.
One person that I could think of.
Yeah, I mean, y'all breathe something about that atmosphere, something about Atlanta that just breeds really, really ambitious.
Yeah, it's the culture, man. Like, and you got to go to where it is. So, for instance, it's not that people in Chicago are violent because they're violent people. It's a culture.
Correct.
You feel me? Like New York City, right? And, kind of like the golden hip-hop era, that every corner you go to, it's just music. And of course it's going to produce the best artists. It's a culture. Everybody does music here, right? So you start to see all these people from New York become the pioneers of hip hop because that's just where that particular energy is. So it's just entrepreneurial energy is just here in Atlanta, bro.
You spoke about Freaknik. Did you pledge when you were in school?
Nah, I mean, I think Freaknik was coming to an end when I was able to come outside. So, yeah.
Got
so
you.
Freaknik was just it was like a weekend party or a week-long party or something like that. I don't know a whole lot about it because, I came on the tail end.
Freaknik.
Nah, I was young, man. I was probably 17. I guess not too young, but around that time when the parties were going on, I guess I left and then came back. And Infamous was one of the biggest. He was like running those small clubs in Atlanta around that party time. And then, he just kind of grew up from there. But
the club scene in Atlanta, I remember going down to Atlanta for many years. And the club scene was like nothing on the planet. My man, and this is another, very, very successful entrepreneur, Alex Gidwan, and his brothers Simon and Mike.
Own the city, bro.
Yeah, I mean, those guys came up with us. Like, it's crazy how many success. I mean, even now, speaking of Alex, Alex, good energy with the truck, and he's down there. Like, y'all got so much great talent in Atlanta. And, and we'll get into this later because I want to talk about your speaking. But even though E.T. is the GOAT, for me, it's nobody like Inky Johnson. Like
Inky's an animal, bro.
Oh my God.
Inky's an animal.
No, I don't think you understand. Like Inky, and I love to give praises where it's due. Inky's a beast. Like that guy, he's something different. He touch your mic, and it's like watching Rakim in his prime or Biggie in his prime.
Inky's different, bro. It was so we're all on tour with me, Inky, E.T., my man Jeremy Anderson, and I'm sitting next to him one day. It is like behind the back room before the actual event starts, and I got a notebook in front of me, so I'm going over what I'm going to say. He said, what you speaking on? So I go through my notes, and I'm kind of telling what I'm about to say. And I said, well, what you going to talk about? And he said, I don't know yet. But he had a notebook in front of him, and he's going through. And I'm like, those are your notes, ain't it? Like, you have some idea. He said, this was so crazy. He said, I don't really study what I'm going to say. I study how I'm going to say it. He said, I study the audience. He said, I study the crowd. He said, I study the art form. It's not about the content. He said, the content is going to be the content. I've lived X amount of years, been through experiences. I got content. But he says, when I tell you, Inky studies the art of communication. He's a student. And that's why he's so phenomenal.
So he said he doesn't study what he's going to say. It's how he's going to say it?
Yeah, he gave me so many jewels. He said, he's like, when I hit the stage, he said, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go real deep, real fast. He said, I'm going to punch the crowd in the mouth off rip. They're going to know I'm here from the beginning. I mean, it's just like psychology. He said, once you got them there, you got them for the rest of the time. For me, I kind of get to know the crowd. I'm kind of feeling and kind of, and I start to think about it like he truly studies the art. I speak because I feel like I'm a good speaker or I have some, my personality, but he is a student. That's why he's so effective. That's the great separator. Most people don't study like Inky.
Yeah, I mean, he's different. Yeah, let me ask you this, because you on tours. You, E.T., Inky, Jeremy
Anderson, yeah. Willie Moore Jr. was on the tour, yeah.
Okay, Willie Moore Jr. too. Okay, these are all profound speakers. I don't know where you was at in your career at this time, but how does that make you like? You on tour,
bro.
You on like that's like being the little dude on the dream team. Like you ain't the sixth man off the bench. You number 10. Like, how does that feel? You got your little 10, 15 minutes, and you got to try to make a difference knowing that these dudes is coming behind you?
Yeah, man. Here is the order. So Inky go first.
Hold up, whoa. Ink went before you?
Ink set the whole thing off. Look where they sandwiched me. So Ink goes first, which makes it really hard for Jeremy. But Jeremy is Jeremy's one of the most powerful speakers I've ever met in my life. So
no, Jeremy's no joke. Shout out to Jeremy Anderson.
Yeah, he's a monster, bro. So Inky, and then Jeremy, then me, and then E.T. So Inky got people he's taking people through so many emotions, and then Jeremy is taking people through so many emotions, really making them reflect on their life. And then I come. I'm not deep. I'm not the guy that's gonna make you cry. I am I guess I'm just like the average person. And then they know that E.T. comes next. So they're waiting for E.T. So I'm like, yo, I gotta step my game up. But thank God that CJ saw something in me, and I believe I was able to hold my own because I was just through CJ's like kind of coaching and teaching, he just taught me how to find my own voice, and my own voice was unique. You know what I mean? So it was amazing. It's like the little dude playing ball with his bigger brother friends. You feel me? You're nice, but what happens is after a little while of playing ball with your big brother and his friends, when you get around your peers, you the GOAT.
You know, it's crazy because we know pressure busts pipes, but that same pressure creates diamonds.
Yeah, for sure.
And you being put in between some of the craziest speakers, and you got to go hold your own. If you don't fold, you gonna come out of there diamond yourself.
For sure, 100%. It was a really, really fun experience, real educational, man. But what I found is, especially in like communication and speaking, no matter how good everybody else is, nobody can be like you. And in a crowd, everybody's not E.T., everybody's not Inky, not everybody's Jeremy. There's somebody in that crowd that relates to me. You feel me? So like it was really humbling. People like, yo, you was the best one. You was the best one. And I'm not taking that as I'm the best speaker. It was just, I connected with you best. And there's somebody in that crowd that I'm going to connect with that nobody, I'm talking about Les Brown, Tony Rock, nobody can connect to that person like me. And there's a bunch of people out there that they're looking at these big names and they're trying to be that when everybody don't connect to that.
You know, how long did it take for you to realize that concept? Because this is a bigger conversation. We're talking about speaking. But overall in entrepreneurship, I always say, you are the secret sauce. It's you. People, there's nothing on planet Earth that ain't really been done yet. There's variations, there's remixes, right, but it's your uniqueness. It's that thing that only you possess that is going to make you special. And I love the fact that you pointed out, in a room full of people who are there, obviously, because E.T., Inky, they're headliners, right? Or E.T. at the time is the headliner. He's the big name. People coming up to you and saying, you were the best one because you connected with them. Can you speak about the concept? Because I think so often, just in the world of entrepreneurship, we get in our own way. People think that they have to follow what's out there, and they forget that it is them. It's what's in them that is going to separate, what they're bringing to market from anybody else that has brought it to market before. Because I always give this example. You got McDonald's, you got Burger King, you got Five Guys, you got Smash Burger, Checkers. All of them sell burgers, but they're all successful. Can you speak to that for a second?
Absolutely, man. You think about it. The process of the hamburger at McDonald's versus the hamburger at Burger King Burger King's burger is better. It's a better burger. Like, we know. We saw the McDonald's movie, and we know all the documentaries about McDonald's, and this food is terrible. But some people love them burgers, bro. They love them joints. And they'll never go to Burger King. Or, it's so crazy, when I was a kid, I would much rather eat McDonald's than my mom's burger. Now I grow up now, and I'm like, yo, I need that mama burger. I ain't trying to eat that. But the only thing you could be is yourself. So they did a study, it's called a Genius study, of over 97,000 high performers, of people who are at the top of their game, 97,000 high performers. And they're trying to find what talents or skill sets do all these high performers possess? Because if we understand that, then we can just create it. If they're all super motivated, all I got to do is find out how to be motivated, and I can be successful. Or if they're all driven leaders, I study leadership, become a leader, I'll be super successful. But they found out that there weren't any talents, but most of those people, 85% of those high performers had a high level of self-awareness and authenticity, meaning I know who I am. And most importantly, I know what I'm not. Authenticity meaning I walk in that. If you are going to perform at a high level, you have to have a high level of self-awareness. So my self-awareness says, I'm not a motivational speaker. I'm not motivational. It doesn't even come off right. You feel me? In terms of like trying to motivate and pump somebody up, that's not me. But when I tried to do that, it never came off right. But when I just was myself and I talked how I'm having a conversation with you right now on stage, and I'm giving my formulas and I'm taking these complicated subjects and kind of spoon feeding them in real simplistic terms, when I do that, I'm the best in the world. And it's not because I'm putting on that show, that's how I understand. If you tell me something too complex, I'm like, hold on, break that down. I don't understand. I dated a girl one time. She always used to use these big words. She was a college graduate. And I would always say, hold on, what does that mean? Oh, what? And she got frustrated. She's like, yo, you can't be serious. I'm like, yo, I don't know. You got to tell me. But once I owned who I was, I'm the best version of me. And people are attracted to people who can be themselves, because that's one of the hardest things for people to be, is themselves.
No, I mean, you're absolutely right. And I want to touch on a couple of things that you said. You spoke about authenticity and what makes people successful after they've done this study. And I worked with Puff for many years, and people look at him, he's a genius, he's a business mogul, he's damn near touching $1 billion. But you know what separates him from all of us? And I worked with him closely from the beginning. Number one is exactly like you said. He knows exactly who he is. And he's all of this unapologetically black thing that is happening now, he was on that back in the early 90s.
Wow.
He was very, very unapologetic about being black. I have sat there and watched him in amazement. We would go to corporate meetings, and it's white people and black people sitting at these big desks, big boardrooms. He'd come in with a baseball cap. At that time, it was the jerseys, and he was him through and through. And they had to lock into him. It was like, yo, I'm not dumbing it down.
Yeah.
To, or trying to speak in a way that I think that you guys are going to respect me. I get who I am. And y'all are going to have to come to me. And I watched it again and again, watching him negotiate and me just getting that master's class in business. And one of the takeaways I got from it is, number one, he just unapologetically himself. Number two, and this is for anybody who's watching, the difference between successful people and people who are not successful people are willing to go places you're not willing to go. They're willing to do things you are not willing to do at an extremely consistent rate. They are very, very consistent. If just like your name, David never sleeps. But David's willing to give up sleep for years. You might be willing to give up sleep for a week, 2 weeks. And you talking about, I'm tired. Mm-hmm. You know, David might be willing to get up at 5 a.m. and work out. You might do that for a week or two and be like, yo, I'm tapping out. This weight, I'm comfortable with it.
Yeah.
But people who are willing to go where you're not willing to go, those are the people who's going to be successful. And I've seen it a million times.
Yeah.
You started your business, your first business, because you got so many. Sleepers for Suckers, selling T-shirts. Where'd that name come from? Why'd that name happen?
Really good question, man. I honestly don't even remember, if I'm being honest. So out of some reason in college, I made an email called sleepisforsuckers@gmail.com. And I wish I could tell you it was like a creative brainstorm and I put this and that together. And I really just don't remember where it came from. It was probably, some idea that I had. I attribute it to two things, man. One, I don't have the best memory. And two, sometimes when you're gifted with something, it's hard to explain where it came from. You know what I mean? So I was watching a movie, Steve Jobs movie. At the end of the movie, he's looking at a computer screen and there's speakers on the side, like the, little speakers. And he said, yo, can we put the speakers in the screen? Why can't we just put the speakers in the screen? How do you develop where that came from? Can Steve Jobs teach me how to think like that? I don't know. So I don't know where the name came from. But a few years later, I reactivated that email address for some reason. Don't ask me how. I don't remember. But I sent somebody an email from it. My man Tyrell, shouts out to Real. And he was like, yo, Sleep is for Suckers at Gmail. I like that. You should make that a brand. So I put it on a t-shirt.
It's a dope brand. Dope brand.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, so that was your first business, correct?
I wish. Bro, I've been trying to make money since I was 7. Oh, bro, I done been at every network marketing company. I done rake leaves, shovel snow, had a candy business. I mean, I was painting T-shirts when I was in college. I sold internet, everything. So, I failed way more times than I succeed.
It makes me think, you say you failed more times than you succeeded. As an entrepreneur, where did you develop this need, this love, this passion, this mission that you're on, this purpose to educate other entrepreneurs? Because just that gem right there, you failed more times than you succeeded. People don't realize that. People think that this is going to be an easy road. People think when they look at people like yourself, people like myself, people who have started businesses and been successful in one way, shape, or form, that we're special. And that's just not the truth. I'll tell anybody who listen, it ain't nothing special about me at all. I might be willing to work harder than you, study a little more than you, be a little more of a student than you, but it's nothing that I have that I know of or I possess that you don't have. Where this purpose, and I'm calling it purpose for a reason, because you're very passionate about giving back to other entrepreneurs. Where did that come from?
I think, I don't know. I always just wanted to help somebody along the way. If I've accomplished something, why not? You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to figure out where it comes from, where you become successful and you don't want to tell somebody the game. That's a better question. I want to interview somebody like, yo, where do you get that from? That idea and plus so many people help me along the way. It's like, yo, how do we grow as a community? Or just the feeling that you help somebody. So now I have less time. So when people want a coaching session or something like that, you have to pay for it. But you're not paying for the information, you're just paying for my time. So if I'm in line at the grocery store and you're in line, and you're like, yo, David, I got a couple questions. I'm gonna answer every question you got. I'm not selling you information. The only thing people have to pay for now is my time. If I'm at my kiosk and I'm selling shirts and you pull up and you got questions, I'm gonna answer every question you got. Because I'm in that same space. Like, it doesn't cost anything. It doesn't cost me nothing. You feel me? I'm already here. So, but I think it's been awesome to watch someone take some advice you use and go change their life. That is amazing. That's an amazing feeling. To be able to teach somebody something and a light bulb comes on. All right, I got a story. You know I got a whole bunch of stories. If I ever need to cut my answer short, just let me know. Okay.
Go ahead. Yeah, I got all the time in the world.
So I was in a school one day, and this is where I really fell in love with teaching. I think it was like a career day or something like that. And I'm in front of the students, and I'm talking my talk, just telling them my journey about entrepreneurship. And in a high school, there's always going to be a couple kids that's not listening to you. I'm talking about they in the back. They must be having a bad morning with the screw face on. I'm talking about arms folded, like, hat on, just I'm not paying attention. So I'm speaking for a little while. And my man still, his face says, I don't like you. His arms are folded, but he's following me with his eyes. I notice it. First, he wasn't looking, but I'm talking for maybe 5-10 minutes, and his eyes start to follow me as I'm walking back and forth. And then eventually, another 5-10 minutes go by. He unfolds his arms, and he's engaging. I'll ask a question. I'll see him nod his head. And then I speak for a little while. By the end of the speech, I see, I'm looking at it. I see the kid, a single tear falls down his face.
Oh, wow. Oh, man.
That was the day I fell in love with the art of speaking, where you can say something and affect somebody so much that you change their entire mood and you tap into something that they didn't even know was there. That's when I fell in love. That's when I said, if there's a high school I can go to, I'm there. That's when I fell in love.
Speaking these days?
I mean, we're in COVID now, so not often going around. I mean, I've done some virtual events and some virtual, colleges, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But I actually have a morning meetup every single morning, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm teaching entrepreneurs from all across the country. Every morning, there's about 200 and something people in the program, but we consistently have about 120, 130 people on the call every single morning. So I get to teach that tribe every day. Every day. Allowing
them to ask questions?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I bring in guest speakers and all that every morning, Monday through Friday. We do it for 3 years.
How long does your call?
About an hour every morning.
Very nice, very nice. And that's a perfect way to start your day. That's got to be some great energy to start your day.
You got to just try it. It's actually a $1 trial for 7 days where somebody can peek in and just see what's going on. We got a guest speaker tomorrow that's just understands business like no other. Then it's crazy, bro. The whole program is crazy.
That's dope. That's so dope. Let me ask you, and I like to have these conversations because I know that there's going to be somebody watching, somebody listening in podcast form, and is struggling in certain areas. Can we just talk about self-belief for a minute? I think one of the things that holds people back from taking a chance, betting on themselves, getting out there and putting this idea into fruition is they just don't believe in themselves.
Yeah.
What can you give just in terms of a gem? What advice can you give to somebody who right now has been straddling the fence But they, if they strip it all away, no matter what excuse they're giving themselves, it really comes down to, I don't think I'm good enough. I don't think the idea is good enough. I don't think, I've never started a business before. Why me? What can you tell those people?
I would definitely say identify what you are good enough to do. So I think we all believe in ourselves just to a certain degree. So let's say, for instance, you have not done any exercise in the last 5 years, 10 years. You would still be, if you're a moderate build person, you would be super confident in the fact that you can get down on the floor and do 3 push-ups, right? I mean, unless you're like super obese or whatever, but even if you haven't worked out in years, you're confident. You have self-belief that you can get out and do 3 push-ups. So we got to identify what we're good enough to do. Go do the 3. And then you'll probably max out at start slowing down 8, 9. Woo, I'm tired. But if the next day you say, yo, I'm going to do some push-ups, you can do at least 8. So you get down and do 8. And then you tire out. The next day you do 8. Eventually, you'd be super confident in the fact that you can do 10. You've been close. So incremental steps. Self-belief is developed by accomplishment. So whatever you feel like you can accomplish, go accomplish it. But we compare ourselves to these social media marketers or, all the stuff that we see, and we got to make $100,000 in a month. No, go make $100 this month. Then feel confident enough to make $100 next month. That's okay. You realize $500 a month, which is an extra $100 a week, will save most people from foreclosure.
That's right.
I teach my people, go make $100 a week. Let's see if you can have a product that 4 people will buy every week that you can sell for $25. Let's write a book, a journal, or whatever. Do you realize you can write a book? It's super easy. You write the book, get somebody to edit it. You get interior designer, exterior designer, and upload it to CreateSpace or whatever. You could have a book for $20. When people buy the book, they don't read the book to see if it's good or not. Do you realize that?
I'm listening. Go ahead. I want to see where you're going with this.
So, think about it. If I came up to you and, say, yo, here's my book. I tell you about it, but you don't open it and say, okay, let me read a chapter real quick. You're buying it based on you liking me.
Correct.
Or you believe that this message could help you based on what I tell you. So becoming an author and becoming someone who can sell a book, all you have to do is develop your ability to connect with people. Or you study some sales books or whatever. It has nothing to do with the product. I can sell a journal. People sell journals, which is a book with no blank pages. There's no information in it. You got to put the information in. So what I'm saying is, in our head, we think we got to be this super successful person, but be confident enough to come up with 10 topics you want to write about. Be confident enough to write on those 10 topics, produce the book, and see if you can get 5 people to like you throughout the week to sell a $20 book to make $100 a week and make $400 a month.
Can we talk about your
belief?
Say it again?
100%. Yeah, I just wanted to drive it home, man. We just have to identify what we believe we can do, because we believe we can do something. And sometimes it's just about that environment you're in. Last story, I promise.
No. Keep telling your stories, because they're very informational. They're very informational. I'm enjoying it.
Oh, no doubt. I was in the fifth or 6th grade, and it was actually one of my friends. We had an issue during school, and then after school, I see him, and I'm like, yo, do we still got a problem? And he's the biggest kid in the class. So I push him, and he's like, yo, David, leave me alone. And I'm like, nah, what's up? You was talking crazy earlier. So I push him again. He's like, yo, David, stop, man. We're not trying to do this. I ain't trying to get in trouble. You ain't trying to get in trouble. So I push him again. The next thing I knew, I was on the ground. My man just hit me. I blanked out. I wake up and he's grabbing me. And then they're breaking us up. So I'm shook. I'm nervous. I didn't think we were actually going to fight. I just wanted to look tough. right? So I'm nervous. I'm like, dang. And I started thinking like, okay, tomorrow he's going to want to fight again. And I don't want to fight again. So watch this. The middle school, my brother was in the middle school and he's coming from the middle school to high school. And I see him in the distance. And I saw my brother and his friends. And for some reason, I got this surge of energy and this surge of confidence because I saw my brother coming. I saw my brother like, yo, I just got in this fight. I ain't talking about laws. But I was like, yo, I got in this fight, man. I got a problem. I'm about to go handle it. He was like, oh, let's do it. I said, nah, you don't even got to jump in. I got it. So here's the thing. I didn't even want my brother to fight for me. But I had more confidence because my brother was there. Moral of the story, you got to be in an environment where people aren't afraid of the things you're afraid of, and you'll have more confidence to go about it. So we're all in these environments where everybody's scared. Coming up in Jersey, ain't nobody doing nothing super big outside of being a rapper or selling weed. But when I got in an environment of authors, they like, yo, all you do is write the little book. I'm like, oh, is that it? Let's go. You follow me? Just being in that environment.
Yeah, I want to touch on 2 points. One, I want to go back to your book, but I want to stick here with this point for 1 second. People don't understand, and I want to stick here for a second. When you are around people who are doing it, people who are getting it, people who are bringing a certain level of energy every day, consistently to the table, it's transferable.
100%.
You start to feel like you could play at that level.
100%.
You start to feel like it ain't nothing I can't do. Just by virtue of being around people who come in with a mindset day in and day out that I'm getting it. And it's so important for all of us, you know, and that I'm here in New York, worked in Manhattan for many years, but there's something about the energy. If anybody, you've been to New York many times. When you get to Manhattan, the lights, the electricity, the cars back and forth, people on the street, you know, moving, just moving. You don't know where they're going. They're moving, they're bumping you. Everybody, it's just a certain level of energy. And I could not agree with you more. When you're around energy, in your case, you saw your brother. You knew my brother's there. I know I got somebody. But it gave you energy to do something like, oh, I can win this. Yeah. And it's the same in business. The same in business. I would tell anybody, get around, and here's the deal. People don't have to be successful yet. They can just have that ambition. They can just be going day in and day about their business. Get around those people, and you will be surprised how that energy helps you to elevate your game. It's crazy because energy is just so transferable.
100%.
I want to talk about a book. You brought up writing a book, and I think that, you know, for anybody who's ever written a book, you know, it's so highly commendable. It's such a great accomplishment. What year did you write your book? And your book is Dreams are made overnight. Did I get that correct?
Yeah. Yep. Dreams are built overnight.
Yep.
Yeah. I released it in 2015. Yep.
2015. What was your motivation for writing it at that time? And at the time, is being an author something that you always thought that you wanted to be?
Nah. E.T. said you need to write a book. I was like, all right. True story.
Simple as
I was like, okay. Yeah, he's like, you need to write a book. I said, oh, okay.
Okay, but listen, E.T. had that effect on you. Most people, you can tell them right now, David, you're an author. You can tell people listening right now, go write a book. 99.9% of the people are not going to write a book.
That's real. That's real.
What was that process like for you? Like that is it just my mentor told me I need to write a book, or was there a means to an end? If I write this book, I am able to get more speaking. Like, what was your motivation there?
He said, he said, yo, you just need to write a book. Here's the thing. So it's not as daunting as people make it seem. So think about this. He said, you need to write a book. I said, well, like, where do I start? He said, the beginning. That was his answer. No lie. No lie. So I was like, okay, what's going to be my beginning? I'm going to start when I got my job at the Cheesecake Factory. So from that journey to me being a full-time entrepreneur, right? Think about this. If you come up with 15 topics to talk about, and out of the 15, you take the first one and you write as much as you can on that first topic. And then the second one, write as much as you can on the second. You do that for 15 days, 15 weeks in a row, 15 months in a row. You just write on one topic. At the end of whatever that 15 is, you'll have a book. It's not rocket science. But if you haven't written one, it's daunting. Or if you're around people that say, oh my gosh, you're going to write a book, you might be thinking, oh my gosh, this is so big. But I was around other people who wrote books, and they're like, oh, when's it going to be out? Oh, you about to write a book. That's what's up. It's if you really think about it, like books don't have to be true. Books can be like nonfiction, fiction. They can be, affirmations.
Science.
It's not
fiction.
that serious. Yeah, you go write a book. Just go write a book. Write it. Just write it.
Yeah, I think it's an incredible accomplishment.
It is, and I don't want to downplay it, but it's not as hard as people make it seem. So, for instance, t-shirt brand. How do I start a t-shirt brand? You need a logo, a design, a place to get blank t-shirts, and a place to print them. Boom. So somebody said, yo, you should start a t-shirt brand. I said, okay, cool. I got to get a logo. Let me go find a designer to design like a first design. Where can I get some t-shirts from? And where can I get printers from? And I went on Google. T-shirt brand.
Yeah, I don't think people use Google University. I don't think they take advantage of that university nearly as much as they should. If people took advantage of that university, as much as they scroll up and down on social media, it would be so many more millionaires and billionaires in this world, because it is literally nothing. It's virtually nothing you can't find on the internet right now.
Absolutely.
Are not taught in an Ivy League college.
Yeah, or even on Facebook, bro. If you ask any question on Facebook and you got some friends, they're going to answer it for you. People love giving their opinion.
Nah, they really do.
Yeah, so I just want to encourage somebody who is afraid and you feel like what's in your head and what you made of it probably isn't true. The story you're telling yourself about the thing that you haven't even done yet probably isn't true.
That's so real. For years, I have friends, extremely successful friends, and they get coached. And they have been telling me for years, Shawn, you need to be coached. For one, I'm looking at them like they're crazy. Like, why would you ever need to be coached? You'd have made it to the finish line.
Right.
Like, what is the purpose of this? And I recently started being coached. And it's so crazy that you said that, because that was one of the first things, that the coach told me. The story that I tell myself, it probably isn't true. Like the thing that is holding me back, that's just a story that I made up.
Yeah.
That's not the reality. It's your reality, but it is not the reality. And I think we all hold ourselves, and it's crazy, and it's good to have these conversations. And we'll take it back to anybody who's watching this, who is an entrepreneur or looking to climb the corporate ladder or climb the ladder within your company. It doesn't matter how successful you are. Every level, there's always doubt. Mm-hmm. The doubt doesn't go away just because you've had some success and achievements in your life. There's always these same doubts. So I just want people, it's normal. That's the best I can tell you. But those stories in your head, those are just stories that at this moment, they're your reality. But understand they are not the reality.
100%.
I'm sorry, go ahead, David.
No, absolutely. I was just agreeing, for sure.
I love your social proof conference. Where did that come from? Why did you feel the need to start your own conference? And can I know that earlier this year, it took place March or April or so?
April, yeah.
Yeah, amazing conference. Why did you feel a need to start this conference? And you had some heavy hitters at your conference. And I want to touch on kind of, if you build it, they'll come. I don't know that when David started this t-shirt line and went to the mall and had this kiosk, that you foresaw that one day you would be educating, inspiring, motivating future leaders, have a conference, and be in direct contact with so many amazing entrepreneurs who were down to do the same thing. I want to give back. Like, where did that come from for you?
I was doing small events anyway. So I do like little workshops in the city, do events in the city. And then I went to a conference. Shouts out to my man, Drew. I went to a conference and they had 1,000 people there. And I was like, I could do that.
Is that the first conference you ever went to?
No, it wasn't the first conference, but it was a conference that I went to where I knew the person and the person seemed just like me.
There you go.
Drew didn't seem like he was like above me, but there was 1,000 people there. I said, oh, I can do it too. Let's do it. That was it. You put the plan together and you do it. I'm just not afraid of like not getting it right. You know what I mean?
Which I think is incredibly important. Again, it goes back to what we talk about failures. You have to be willing to take a public L. And doing a conference, doing any live event, unlike, doing a podcast, unlike working behind the scenes, you run the risk because you really are putting your nuts out there. You
can't hide it.
You can't hide it.
I was telling my man, if I release a book or a product or a course, you don't know how many I sold. But when I put on a conference, ain't no way to hide how many people came. Ain't no way to hide it, brother.
Now, how did you get so many influential people into your conference? Were you surprised yourself? Because how many was it how many speakers was it?
I mean, we had, like, the first year we had 30. The second year we had 50.
So incredible, man. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, it's just Atlanta. I mean, once you're in the space, you're in the space. You know what I mean? Like, other people who are in the space. You just reach out. And, I mean, it's almost like if you play basketball every day and you're looking for 10 people to play basketball with, you probably have their numbers because you play every day. Other people who play every day. So it's nothing to get a game going. I know some people that hoop. Oh, I hooped with them last time. Oh, other week I hooped with them. So these are people that I did events with and I see them out and, we doing the same thing and I see them on social media. I comment on their stuff. They comment on mine. That's it.
You making it sound a lot easier than what it really is?
Or it's just as easy as I'm making it.
I do live events. And one thing I would tell you, number one, you can't hide. That's number one. So you might as well be ready. When you commit to it, it's your name, it's your reputation, it's all those things on the line. When you're doing live events, anything, Murphy's Law, is in effect. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. And you have to do as much pre-preparation as possible, but
100%.
Very, very successful people. And I love I love the idea that, yes, you know these people and you have had some level of communication with them. But people are busy. People are doing things.
Let me give you the game. I'm gonna give you the game.
Go ahead.
Okay. So you've accomplished a certain level of success, right?
Yep.
What do you offer, or what do you have to sell?
Myself?
You.
Because it's multi-layered, but if you are talking,
give me a product or a service that you offer.
You're talking about my marketing expertise. It's 20 plus years of being a marketer for some of the top brands in the country.
Right. So you do marketing, like you can take on a marketing client, right?
Hands down, without thinking.
So I'm telling you, I'm going to have 300 people in a room. I don't got the money to pay you, but I want you to teach this 300 people a little bit about marketing. And I'm sure if you do your part, somebody's going to hire you. Would you come?
I would absolutely come, but my motivation and what I think I was trying to get to, my motivation would be you. It would
right,
be
but outside of me, just
outside
me
of
asking
you
a question.
Okay, but again, and this is a very philosophical conversation.
Yeah.
I do things that are purposeful to me. That's for sure. I have never ever moved for money. Ever.
Okay. Well, let me put it this way.
Go ahead.
Out of these 300 people, I'm bringing 200 high school students to this building to learn marketing. Would you come?
There we go. I would come in a heartbeat. Number one, the person I asked or the person that asked me, I respect. But number two, now you're in line with my purpose.
Right. So here's my point.
Go ahead.
I told that same story 50 times. I find out what you want, and I'm telling you all these people are going to be there. Of course, as an entrepreneur, you are thinking of you might want to help people, but as a businessman, you think, you see the numbers. I know what I do. In front of 300 people, I know I can pick up a client. Or it might be that, we're bringing students to the building. You'll even not knowing me, it would make good sense in your head. Either if somebody says no, they're either really bad at math or they don't like me. I could take either one of those. But the question was, how do you get so many influential people? I'm telling the speaker that there's going to be 1,000 people there. And I can't guarantee that 1,000 people is going to be there, but I'm telling them in my head, I see 1,000. But now I got 50 speakers. And now I can take the fact that I got 50 speakers and go get 1,000 people because I'm selling the speakers now.
Yep.
So it's not, in my head, I don't see it as a big problem. And I see it as simplistic because I'm just not overthinking it. In my head, I see 1,000 people, so I'm telling everybody it's going to be 1,000 people there. And then I'm telling the crowd, we're going to have some of the most powerful speakers there before I have anything. So in our head is the story, like you said, the stories that we create. Anything I thought was too big isn't as big for somebody else, even though we're in the same space doing the same thing. It's just the mindset.
I love that you shared that. I love that you broke it down the way that you did. I really think that's going to help somebody.
Yeah, good.
Can we talk about this? Stick with this mindset for a second. Because I thought when I was coming up, I was unique. And I come to realize being around people like yourself and other people who have achieved a certain level of success. I've been telling people since I was young, I don't live in the real world. I just don't, right? I don't know how else to put it. I am a delusional thinker. But in order to be successful, you have to not live in the world of reality because reality is scary. Reality is what's been done. And if you compare what's been done to what you have the capability of doing, you probably won't get started in the first place because you'll be like, well, you know, I've never done anything beyond a certain point before. Mm-hmm. But if you don't live, and I tell this to any entrepreneur, like you almost have to be a delusional thinker. You can't live in reality. You have to see something that isn't there and then go after it. So, and I'm going to bring this up because, yes, you had a strategy. I'm selling 1,000 people in attendance to a group that I haven't got yet. But I'm using that to get these high-level influencers. And once I got them, now I'm going back and I'm getting these 1,000 people that I sold in the first, but you saw it. And I just think it's so important. And maybe you could just put the cherry on top with this point I'm making. I think we all make it so much more harder on ourselves because we live in the confines of what is real today.
Yeah.
And not what could be real if you just went after it and just said, I don't care what the rules are. They don't apply to me. I see myself living in a certain crib, in a certain neighborhood, in a certain zip code with a certain amount of zeros in my bank account. I know I don't have them today, but that is just what I see, and I'm going after it.
Yeah. I think, remember I said that I was inspired to do the conference because I went to a conference where it was done. So I was in an environment where I saw it, which made me believe, whoa, this is possible. Mm-hmm. I could do it. Oh, they actually came. I'm going to do it. Here, get this. So my goal was 1,000. We had about 550 at the first conference when I thought there was going to be 1,000.
This is year one.
Year one. Mm-hmm. And then year two, it got kind of funky. We had like 300 or something because we had to, obviously, COVID hit.
Yep.
Mid-conference. But it worked out because we did like a virtual thing. It worked out. It wasn't bad. But I believed I could do it once I saw it. And I was in an environment of somebody who did it. So if I can leave everybody with anything, as we wrap it up, you got to get in the environment. That's why you see all this stuff coming from Atlanta. It's the environment. There's so many Black entrepreneurs out here. Any networking event, like you go to a lounge or a club, it's a networking event because you'll see somebody in there that's doing something and just being connected. The environment, your environment is everything. Everything, bro.
I want to touch on something before we close this thing out, Dave. You know, I think, you know, all of us suffer from this in some way, shape, or form. But we have I think it might be just something that's within us being human beings. But we tend to look at the grass on the other side and think it's greener than our own. Mm-hmm. And we compare ourselves to others. You speak to the idea and how important it is to stay laser focused on what you do and not, it's very difficult. It really is. It's hard not to look at somebody who wrote a book and be like, damn, I can't do what this person did. It's hard not to look at somebody like a LeBron James and I can't do what he did until the next LeBron James comes along, until Zion, gets in the league or what have you. But can you speak to just the importance of just staying laser focused, staying in your lane? Don't worry about what the next person is doing. Let them be motivation, but don't let them be the thing that holds you back and makes you so afraid to get started from the get-go.
Yeah, I think it, and it's a really, really good point, man. It really depends on the person. Some people can handle seeing other people succeed because it motivates them. Some people can't. Some people, it discourages them. So if you are a person that is motivated and inspired by seeing somebody do it, and you say, yo, I can do it too, then stay in that environment around those people. But if you know in your heart, when you see it, it gets scary, unfollow these people that you're following. You don't need to see no more success. You need to
Hold
follow
on,
people
stop there. I want you to say that again slow, please. I don't know where you were about to go, but just say that one more time. Somebody needs to hear that.
Absolutely, man. I go on an unfollow spree, man, if it's too much for you to handle. And we know when we see it, it gives us anxiety. Like, I'm gonna keep it 100. There's some of my friends that are just on a higher level, and I have to mute them on Instagram because I'm laser focused on a path. And when I see what they're doing, it makes me want to do that and take my eye off so I got to mute that. They're showing too much. They're showing too much lifestyle stuff. It's just too much for me right now. That doesn't inspire me. I need to stay focused on my lane. So I need to mute. On Instagram, you can mute and not see people. And I'm transparent enough knowing myself, certain things I don't need to see. So we need to be mature enough to say that this is giving me anxiety. Let me be focused on where I'm at. Let me only follow people that maybe just a step ahead of me or on that same level. And then I'll go back to being inspired by what inspires me. But it's Instagram, bro, social media.
Social media is social media is challenging, but I love that you have, you got this self-awareness to understand. And that's why I wanted you to really dive in.
Yeah.
You're self-aware to know I can't handle it.
Yeah.
People need to understand that. If you can't handle someone else's success, if it does not motivate you, if it doesn't drive you, but in turn, it makes you afraid, it makes you envious, it makes you jealous, it makes you look at them like they are better than you or they possess something you don't, it's time for you to mute them. I love that you brought this up.
Yep, 100%.
Last question,
yeah,
Dave. What's a typical day like for you?
So I wake up, I pray and study my Bible. Then at 8 o'clock, I go and I do my morning call from 8 to 9.
What time are you waking up? Sorry to cut in. What time are you waking up?
I wake up about 7. So 8 o'clock is my morning call. I'm on the call till 9. And I typically have like coaching sessions or something up until about 10, 11 o'clock. Then I get dressed and every day is different because it's just different things you got to handle. But I'm just out hitting it, whether it's coaching sessions, interview like this. I got to make a run right now because I have a 4 o'clock meeting, but I have to do some stuff in between there. If I have some time, I'll go to the kiosk and hang out where we sell our clothes and stuff like that. And I typically try to get home by like 7 o'clock and just be with the fam.
David, I think that you are incredibly inspirational. I know you said earlier you don't like the label of being a motivational speaker, but just through your words, I'm motivated. I feel really, really good. And I know we have to do this via whatever this is, cyberspace or but I would love to have a follow-up with you one day in person.
Yeah, 100%.
This has been a great conversation, and I know your words, your wisdom, your experience is going to help a lot of people. So thank you so much for all that you do. Thanks for the time you have given us today. And you really are a true power move maker.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me, my brother.
Yes, sir.
All right.
What's up, guys? Thanks for sticking with me to the end of the video. Truly appreciate you. If you like anything you heard here today, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And if you know anybody that can benefit from this message, feel free to share. Peace and love.